Hey guys, tonight we're going back to a world without words, before stories, before names, before even the idea of me or you. You open your eyes to a time when the earth hums with life, but not language. Wind sighs through the tall grass. Water murmurs down a stream. Animals cry, chirp, growl, but nothing speaks. The air is full of sound, yet everything is silent. This is the world before language, when humans still lived in the quiet pulse of instinct. You crouch near a riverbank, your breath steady, your hands covered in mud. Around you, your small group moves softly through the trees. You don't say a word, not because you're shy, but because there are no words. A glance, a gesture, a small grunt replaces everything speech would one day do. Someone points, and you know it means danger. Someone frowns, and you understand disappointment. A child laughs, and everyone smiles. It's communication, yes, but it's not yet a conversation. The silence isn't empty. It's alive, thick, full of rhythm. You can hear everything, the rustle of leaves, the buzz of flies, the faint scratch of claws on bark. Life demands attention, and words would only get in the way. You live through your senses. You feel meaning more than you think it. When the wind shifts, you smell rain. When a bird stops singing, you know a predator is near. Your world is instinct, and instinct never lies. But deep inside, something stirs. You're different from the animals around you. You don't just react. You wonder. You notice patterns. The same bird call before dawn. The same cry when someone's hurt. You start connecting sounds to things. Your brain begins to hum with possibilities. The first spark of language isn't invention. It's curiosity. The question rises silently. What if sound could mean something more? You watch two hunters by the fire, one pointing to a distant hill. He grunts, short, low, deliberate. The other nods. They both understand that sound means there. It's small, but it's something. The air, once empty of meaning, begins to fill with it. A new rhythm enters the world, the heartbeat of communication. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes thousands of generations of trial and error. Early humans repeat sounds that work, and abandon the ones that don't. Maybe a sharp click means come. Maybe a hum means safe. Over time, the sounds become consistent. Passed down like tools, children mimic their parents' calls. The calls become habits. Habits become structure. Language begins, not as poetry but as survival. Still, the quiet world resists change. For millions of years, silence ruled everything. The forest doesn't want your chatter. The hunt depends on stealth. So the first language grows in whispers between breaths. You murmur to your child, hum to your friend, grunt to your mate in the dark. These are the first words, not shouted, but shared. At night, when the fires burn low, you sit close to the others. The sky above is enormous, full of stars. You can't name them, not yet, but you feel their pull. Someone hums softly, a rhythmic sound to calm a restless child. Others join in. The hum becomes pattern, the pattern becomes memory. That's how music begins. Emotion given sound before sound becomes speech. And then, one evening, it happens. Someone makes a sound not for need, not for fear, not for warning, but for connection. A simple tone that means you. A sound meant only to reach another person. The silence breaks, not with thunder, but with tenderness. That moment, fragile and invisible, is the birth of everything human. You might laugh at how small it seems. Just a sound, a breath, a vibration in the air. But from that tiny gesture will come everything. Names, stories, promises, prayers, love songs, bedtime whispers like this one. The world will never be silent again. You look into the fire, its glow painting faces around you. Each flicker of flame reflects in curious eyes, eyes that are beginning to understand something extraordinary, that sound can carry meaning, and meaning can outlive the moment. Somewhere in the darkness, a child copies the sound they heard earlier, repeating it clumsily but earnestly. The group laughs, not mockingly, but with warmth. They repeat the sound too. It passes from mouth to mouth, a spark catching on dry grass. The first echo of language spreads, not as invention, but as play. Tomorrow they'll wake to the same sun, the same world, but it will feel slightly different. The air will seem charged, expectant, Something has changed in the rhythm of life. The silence has cracked, and through that crack, humanity is stepping into something new, an invisible thread connecting one mind to another. You can almost feel it now, the beginning of everything that makes you human, rising like dawn. Night falls again, and the world glows in amber light. You sit near the fire, watching smoke drift upward, twisting into the dark. Around you, the tribe murmurs, not with full words yet, but with something close. The sounds blend with the crackle of burning wood, with the chirping of insects, with the heartbeat of the earth itself. It's not silence anymore, but it's not noise either. It's something in between, a soft, uncertain language being born in real time. You can feel it in the air, this hunger for meaning. The grunts and hums that once meant food or danger are changing, growing warmer, more layered. Now a sound can carry tone, sharp when angry, low when tired, high when playful. You begin to notice emotion in voice, relief, affection, warning. The mouth becomes more than a tool, it becomes a mirror for the mind. A mother croons softly to her child. Her voice rises and falls like waves. The baby responds, cooing back with small breathy sounds. It's not language yet, but it's the start of something much deeper, connection made through tone. That same pattern, that same melody of love and safety, will echo through lullabies, tens of thousands of years later. The first music is not for dance or ritual, it's for comfort. You watch another pair by the fire, two hunters sharing a meal. One gestures toward the horizon, then lets out a low hum. The other answers with a similar note, slightly shorter. You realize they're talking, sort of. The sounds mean nothing to you, but they mean something to them. A shared rhythm, a private understanding. The first conversations in history aren't about words, they're about trust. The tribe moves together through this growing sea of meaning. You see laughter turning into language, rhythm into pattern. When someone stumbles and falls, others make a concerned sound, sharp, startled. When a child throws a stick and it lands far, everyone cheers, repeating the same high tone. That repetition matters. It turns coincidence into rule. Tone becomes symbol. Symbol becomes word. By day, the tribe hunts and gathers. By night, they hum and murmur. Around the fire, their sounds grow more complex. They begin to mimic the world around them. The call of birds, the growl of predators, the whistle of wind through grass. Each mimicry carries feeling, and each feeling carries meaning. Look out might start as a quick hiss, like a snake's warning. Come here might sound like the low hum of safety. Nature becomes vocabulary, and you become its interpreter. But meaning isn't just survival anymore. Sound starts to explore joy. You hear playful imitations, teasing grunts, strange rhythms repeated for no reason other than delight. Language begins not as utility, but as curiosity, like everything else human. You're not just describing the world now, you're starting to shape it through sound. There's something hypnotic about it. At dusk, when the fire softens and shadows lengthen, you sit with the others in near silence. One person hums, another answers, then another. It's like the forest itself has started breathing through you. The rhythm grows steady, rising, then falling again. You realize you're doing something new, something instinctively sacred. You're listening. Through this shared rhythm, the tribe learns timing, patience, cooperation. Sound binds you in ways gestures never could. You begin to anticipate each other's tones, to predict emotion before it's expressed. Empathy grows through repetition. Each hum, each laugh, each sigh trains the brain to feel for others. The leap from noise to meaning isn't just about speech, it's about compassion. Over time, some sounds stick permanently. A certain click becomes a name for fire. A low hum means water. The tribe begins to standardize their signals. Children learn them first, repeating until they become automatic. When one child says the sound wrong, others giggle and correct her. Language, like play, becomes self-teaching. But the first true magic comes when someone, maybe by accident, uses sound to describe something not present. A hunter hums the word for lion, even though there's no lion nearby. The group tenses instantly. They understand he's describing, not reacting. The sound is memory, not moment. That single leap, connecting sound to thought rather than sight, marks the true birth of symbolic language. You can feel it, can't you? The quiet, thrill of discovery. The air suddenly feels charged, alive. The tribe begins testing it. Words for things that aren't there, things imagined, things remembered. The world opens wide. You can now talk about the past, dream about the future, warn others about what's coming. For the first time, knowledge becomes portable. Of course, there are still misunderstandings. One person hums, lion, another thinks he said fire, and chaos erupts. Someone laughs until they can't breathe. The tribe groans in exasperation. Communication is still fragile, but it's growing stronger with every mistake. Later that night, you sit again by the fire. The stars are cold and endless, but the circle of light feels warm, human. You listen as two elders hum and gesture, their faces glowing orange. Their sounds rise and fall like waves, their expressions shifting with each tone. You don't know their words, but you know their meaning. One is telling a memory, the other is understanding. And in that flickering light you realize the truth. Language isn't built from sound alone. It's built from attention, from the moment one human cared enough to be understood by another. Silence lost its hold on the world. You look around the flames, the faces, the shadows, and you feel it. The hum of meaning, the heartbeat of humanity beginning to speak. It's soft, imperfect, full of emotion. It's beautiful. You smile, close your eyes, and listen to the first whispers of all the conversations that will ever exist, carried on the wind, rising from the murmur of a tribe that just wanted to be heard. Morning light filters through the branches, glinting off dew and smoke. The world feels new again, but your tribe is already awake, moving, communicating, not yet with full words, but with the eloquence of motion. You watch as one woman waves her hand in a wide circle, her face tightening. Instantly, others look toward the horizon. There's no need for speech. Everyone understands. Something's coming. Long before grammar, before verbs or nouns, the body was the first sentence. Every gesture meant something. A pointed finger for look, a raised palm for stop, a tilted head for listen. Expression was life. In a world where silence could mean survival, the face became as powerful as the voice would one day be. You notice it constantly. The tilt of a brow, the curl of a lip, the widening of eyes. These are ancient signals, older than thought. When someone bares their teeth, it's not yet a smile, it's a warning. When their mouth softens, it means peace. Every glance, every twitch of muscle carries meaning. The tribe moves through this silent ballet effortlessly, like musicians who've practiced forever. But as language stirs within the human mind, something extraordinary happens. Hands and faces don't fade, they evolve alongside sound. They start to work with the voice, not against it. You grunt a sound, then point to make it clear. You hum, come, then beckon. Gesture becomes grammar, expression becomes punctuation. Watch closely now. Two hunters crouch at the edge of the grass. One taps the other's shoulder and gestures an open hand forward, then a downward flick. The meaning is clear. Go quietly. No words, no confusion. Later, when they return with food, the same hunter flashes a brief proud grin. The smile, once a baring of teeth, has transformed into something completely new. Shared joy. That single change will shape every human interaction from now until the end of time. Your face is becoming a language of its own. It's flexible, alive, precise. You can raise eyebrows to ask questions, purse lips to show doubt, squint, signal skepticism. The body begins to speak emotions long before the mouth can shape them. You can see anger before you hear it, compassion before it's said aloud. Around the fire that night, the children imitate the adults, gesturing, mimicking expressions, laughing when they get it wrong. This is how the next generation learns to read minds, without words. They point, nod, wrinkle their noses, and everyone knows what they mean. Human empathy grows through this visual language. Seeing another's face becomes seeing their thoughts. And then something shifts again. One woman, trying to explain where she found fruit, uses both sound and motion. She hums, then cups her hands, then mimes reaching upward. It's not just pointing, it's storytelling. The others lean forward, nodding, following her rhythm. The combination of voice and movement paints a picture in the air. The first sentence in history isn't spoken, it's performed. From that moment on, every conversation is theatre. The tribe begins using gesture to give shape to invisible things, Time, memory, distance. A hand waved backward means yesterday. Two fingers held apart mean far. A slow nod means yes. A quick shake means no. Without realizing it, you've invented the world's first grammar. Even laughter and tears evolve into shared signals. Laughter tells others you're safe, that the tension has broken. Tears tell them you're in pain or loss. You're no longer just feeling, you're broadcasting. Emotion becomes communication, and communication becomes unity. You notice it one evening while watching two young children play. They're babbling nonsense sounds, waving their arms, making faces. It's chaotic but meaningful. They're not just learning to talk, they're learning to connect. Every sound has a gesture, every gesture a tone. The dance of expression is becoming instinct. The tribe uses this system in every part of life. During hunts, gestures keep you silent. During storms, expressions keep you calm. During rituals, movements tell stories of ancestors. Your hands become storytellers. Your face becomes scripture. And slowly the gestures become smaller, subtler. You no longer need to wave to say, "Come here." A flick of the wrist will do. You no longer need to exaggerate anger. A glare is enough. Efficiency enters communication. The face becomes fluent in nuance, and the brain learns to read it instantly. This new complexity changes everything. When you look into someone's eyes now, you don't just see them, you understand them. You know if they're afraid, amused, lying, or in love. The mirror neurons in your brain fire as if their emotion were your own. The boundary between self and other begins to dissolve. Empathy isn't taught, it's wired. Even the quiet moments carry meaning. When night falls, you sit by the fire, and someone looks at you, a long, steady gaze. No sound passes between you. But something does. Recognition. In that look is everything: gratitude, trust, shared existence. You realize words will never fully replace this silent language. They will only build upon it. Centuries from now, when humans invent speech, writing, even digital messages, they'll still lean on this same foundation. A smile, a shrug, a nod, all survivors of this age, when faces were the first books and hands the first storytellers. The tribe settles in for sleep. The fire fades to embers. You glance around at the flickering faces, each one alive with light and shadow. You think how strange it is that these small muscles, eyes, lips, brows, carry the entire weight of meaning. The night is silent, but you no longer need sound. Every movement speaks, every expression is understood. In this ancient quiet, you realize something astonishing. Even before the first word was ever spoken, humanity had already learned how to talk. Morning breaks again, soft and smoky. The fire from the night before still smoulders, curling thin trails of grey into the air. You stretch, blink against the pale light, and listen. There it is, that faint, rhythmic pattern of grunts and hums rising from the camp. No one calls it language yet, but you can feel it happening. Each sound carries purpose. Each movement has meaning. The silence of the world is learning how to speak. You walk with your group across the open savanna, the grass whispering against your legs. The air tastes dry, the sun heavy on your back. A few 100 meters ahead, one of the hunters suddenly raises his hand. Instantly, everyone freezes. No words, just that single gesture, but everyone knows what it means. Danger. And sure enough, moments later, the grass stirs, the sleek outline of a lion moving low. Your heart tightens, but you stay still. When the danger passes, someone laughs in relief, releasing a low, throaty sound. Another imitates it. The laughter spreads, and just like that, a new kind of sound, emotion made audible, ripples through the group. Fear turns to joy, and joy turns to connection. You can almost see it in their eyes. That sound meant something, and we all understood it. It starts small, this urge to communicate, but it grows fast. The world demands it. You can't survive without sharing. The hunt, the fire, the food, all require coordination. A look isn't enough anymore. A gesture fails in the dark. You need sound, something that travels farther than the eyes can see. So you experiment. A grunt for come, a click for look, a hum for safe. It's messy and inconsistent at first, like toddlers learning to talk, but over time, patterns form. Some sounds stick because they work. The tribe remembers them, repeats them, passes them to children. Communication becomes culture, long before words like culture exist. You can feel the brain itself shifting to keep up. The tongue, lips and throat grow more flexible. The breath becomes an instrument, not just a reflex. Every exhale can now carry intention. You're sculpting air into meaning. It's not just talking, it's creation. As you travel, you notice how sounds begin to echo the world itself. The crack of thunder becomes K. The hiss of a snake becomes Hess. The splash of water becomes woe. Imitation turns into vocabulary. The earth teaches you how to speak. And then comes something new, repetition. Someone repeats a sound, not because they need to, but because it feels right. Rhythm enters speech. Sound becomes memory. It's how humans start remembering what can't be seen. Food sources, paths, seasons. The mouth becomes the first archive. At night, as fire crackles, the tribe experiments further. You hum to the flames, testing tones and syllables, laughing when someone imitates your noise wrong. It's play, but it's also progress. Through laughter and mimicry, the group learns which sounds fit which feelings. You are building the first shared dictionary, one laugh, one grunt, one sigh at a time. The urge to communicate isn't just about survival anymore. It's about belonging. Words, or the beginnings of them, become bridges. You use them to comfort a crying child, to share a memory, to tease a friend. The emotional world starts to grow wider, deep. You begin to feel what others feel, to imagine what they think. Empathy takes shape in sound. Still, mistakes happen. One hunter points and grunts, another misunderstands. Maybe he brings the wrong tool, or heads in the wrong direction. The group scolds, mimics, corrects. Slowly, meaning stabilizes. Rules form. Without knowing it, you're inventing grammar, the invisible skeleton of all future speech. One evening, a child tries something daring. He combines two sounds, one for bird, one for gone. Bird gone. It's rough, broken, but clear. The tribe freezes. They understand. Two sounds have made a thought. It's a revelation. Language isn't just describing the world, it's beginning to build it. The next morning, you wake to the sound of voices, not random noise anymore, but patterned, familiar. The camp buzzes softly, like a hive of meaning. You feel it in your chest, a strange pride swelling. You've invented something bigger than you. Words are becoming memory. Memory is becoming story. One of the elders gestures to the sky, to a dark flock passing overhead. He makes the sound the child did last night. Everyone looks up, nods, repeats. A single phrase shared between minds. The silence that once filled the world is truly breaking now, replaced by a low hum of connection that will one day rise into full speech, full song, full civilization. You sit by the fire that evening, watching sparks rise into the dark, and realize you'll never again live in a world of pure silence. From now on, every thought will want to reach another person. Every emotion will want a sound. Every idea will want to be understood. It's strange to think of how small it begins, grunts in the dust, laughter under the stars. But in this moment, the urge to communicate has changed the fate of everything. Words haven't been invented yet, but the need for them already burns hotter than fire. You listen as the group settles into sleep, their breathing soft and steady. In the quiet between heartbeats, you almost miss the silence. Almost, but then someone murmurs in their sleep, a sound halfway between dream and meaning, and you smile. The world will never be the same again. The day begins with a roar, not from the sky, or the beasts beyond the river, but from within your own tribe. It's the sound of voices, raw and scattered, filling the air with new energy. What once were simple cries of warning or joy are now deliberate, intentional, and repeated. You can feel the change. The air itself hums differently. The quiet grunts of survival are turning into patterns. The first codes of sound are being born. You walk along the edge of the camp, the sun barely over the horizon, and you hear it, a sharp, quick bark from one hunter to another. It's the same sound they made yesterday when they spotted prey. This time, everyone reacts faster. You see realization dawn on their faces, that noise means something every time. It's consistent, reliable. The first spark of vocabulary. This is how language becomes law, not by invention, but by repetition. A call for danger, a whistle for water, a low hum for peace. Each one carries a shared understanding. You can almost see it happening, the invisible web of meaning stretching from one person to another, connecting minds that were once isolated. It's not just imitation anymore. There's intention. One man sits near the fire and experiments, making different noises with his throat low, then high, then rhythmic. The group watches, curious. The child giggles and mimics him. Soon everyone is testing their voices. Like a new instrument, the air fills with echoes. You can't help but laugh. It's chaos, but a beautiful chaos. You're listening to thought take shape for the first time. Evolution helps you along. The jaw has narrowed, the tongue has become more flexible, and the larynx has lowered in the throat, allowing for a greater range of sounds. The same changes that make eating harder make speaking easier. A risky trade, but one that will rewrite the world. Now, every sound has potential. A short click might mean stop. A long hum could mean food. You notice that tone and rhythm matter as much as the sound itself. Say it high, it means one thing. Say it low, another. Meaning isn't just what you say, it's how you say it. Emotion and information are intertwined. It starts to spread. Each small band of humans develops its own set of sounds. One group imitates the calls of birds, another uses throaty growls, another favors whistles. The earth becomes a patchwork of proto-languages, shaped by landscape and lifestyle. In the forest, soft clicks carry far without echo. In the grasslands, deep tones cut through wind. Every tribe invents its own codebook. And though no one knows it yet, these differences will one day bloom into thousands of tongues. Languages that will carry poetry, philosophy, war, and love. But for now, it's enough to have a sound for lion. You see it play out one afternoon. A scout spots movement in the tall grass. He lets out the tribe's alarm sound, a sharp staccato cry. Instantly, everyone reacts. Some grab spears, others pull children close. The lion slinks away, confused by the sudden unity. When the danger passes, laughter spreads. The sound worked. You survived. The tribe celebrates with the same cry again, but this time it's not warning, it's triumph. The sound has learned to bend with context. That's when you realize meaning isn't fixed. It's alive. The same call can mean safety or danger depending on when and how it's used. Intonation becomes grammar, rhythm becomes emotion. Without knowing it, you're laying the foundation for every language that will follow. Around the fire that night, an elder begins using the same sound to tell a story. He acts out the lion's movements, growling softly, then laughs as he mimics the alarm call. The others join in, repeating the sound in rhythm. It becomes performance, half song, half speech. The tribe claps and howls with delight. You've just witnessed the invention of oral storytelling. You think about how strange it must have felt. The realization that sound could hold memory, that it could carry something invisible, something sacred from one mind to another. For the first time, the past doesn't vanish when the sun sets. It can be told again and again. You sit back, staring into the fire. Sparks leap upward like words escaping into the sky. Each crackle sounds almost like laughter, and you imagine the universe itself listening, smiling. The silence that once ruled the world is gone now, replaced by a living river of sound flowing between people. Still, there's danger in this new power. Sometimes sounds clash, meanings blur, tempers rise. Two people use the same tone for different things, and confusion spreads. But even that conflict pushes you forward. It forces clarification, structure, refinement. Out of argument, language sharpens. The next morning, the tribe moves together again. The calls come easily now, almost unconscious. One person hums softly to call others to eat. Another whistles twice to signal they're leaving. A third mutters a rhythm while sharpening tools, a primitive song to keep focus. Everywhere you go, sound fills the air like a second heartbeat. The world feels different now. Smaller, more connected, more human. You can warn, request, invite, tease. You can share what you see and what you feel. You can even lie, an entirely new kind of power. Speech has made you clever, but also dangerous. By evening, when the fire burns low and the sky turns deep blue, you listen to the tribe settle into their usual murmur. The sounds are softer now, almost tender. Parents croon to children, Lovers whisper nonsense. Elders hum melodies. The day's code of calls has turned into music again. Meaning has melted into comfort. You realize, sitting there in the half-dark, that the line between speaking and singing is almost invisible. Language didn't just break silence. It gave silence rhythm. You look up at the stars, countless and steady, and wonder what they'd sound like if they could talk. Maybe, in their way they already do. The night settles deep over the plain, and the fire crackles like a living thing. Sparks dance upward, rising into a sky so dark it feels endless. You sit close to the warmth, surrounded by the low, comforting hum of the tribe. Faces glow in the amber light, eyes bright, hands busy, bodies relaxed. For the first time in history, humanity isn't running, fighting, or hiding. It's talking. It begins simply. One voice hums a rhythm, another answers. A third adds a higher note, then a laugh, then a gesture. The noises overlap and build until the air itself feels full of thought. It's not speech yet, not exactly, but it's something new, something social. Words, or the beginnings of them, flicker like the fire, bright, unpredictable, alive. Around you, someone points at the flames and murmurs a sound. Others repeat it. The same sound again, louder now, with laughter. Maybe it means fire, maybe it means warmth, or home, or safety. It doesn't matter which, it matters that everyone agrees. In that instant, the first shared word is born, spoken into existence through joy. Fire has become more than survival. It's become a teacher. In its circle of light, the tribe learns rhythm, pattern, and story. The flames mesmerize, but they also invite attention. People stare into them and imagine things. Faces, shapes, spirits, they begin to describe them. Half with words, half with sound and gesture. The first storytelling doesn't happen through speech alone. It happens through the merging of voice, light, and imagination. The fire gathers everyone. The children sit closest, wide-eyed. The hunters sprawl behind them, tired but smiling. The mothers hum softly, echoing the flicker. The elders, those who remember the most, begin to speak. Their tones are deeper, slower, deliberate. They repeat the sounds that worked before, that drew laughter, that carried meaning. The tribe listens, imitates, repeats. In this moment, language is not being taught, it's being shared. And it's not just about information. Around the fire, humans discover something else entirely, the joy of sound itself. Someone imitates the call of a night bird. Another answers with the grunt of a boar. The children giggle uncontrollably. It's mimicry, but it's also performance. You can feel the tribe coming alive with play. That playful instinct, the urge to make noise just to see what happens, is what will make poetry, song, and conversation possible. You notice how tone changes with emotion. A low, slow rhythm becomes soothing. A sharp, high sound means warning. When someone exaggerates the tones to tell a story, others lean forward, spellbound. The sounds are still simple, but the feeling is rich. This is proto-theater, proto-comedy, proto-language. The tribe isn't just exchanging facts, they're building connection. The firelight glows on every face, and in its flicker you see evolution in real time. The muscles of the mouth work in new ways. The tongue flexes, the lips shape unfamiliar patterns. The brain, listening, starts linking those shapes to ideas. One person makes a noise for meat, another repeats it tomorrow, and it still means meat. That moment of memory turns sound into symbol. Meaning can now travel through time. You realize how powerful this is. The world was once limited to the here and now, to what you could see or touch. But now, with words, you can summon the past and imagine the future. You can say, we hunted there, or tomorrow we go east. The tribe can plan, dream, and remember. The dawn of firelight conversations is the dawn of collective thought. Laughter fills the camp, as someone makes fun of the leader's clumsy hunt earlier that day. The imitation is ridiculous, but perfect. The man's puffed chest, the startled yelp when his spear missed. Everyone howls with delight, even the target of the joke. Humor has arrived. In laughter, fear loosens its grip. It tells everyone we are safe enough to play. Not every sound is light-hearted, though. When danger is near, the mood shifts. The voice becomes low, urgent, clipped. You hear an early version of command, an order, not a plea. The others obey instantly. The same voice, moments later, softens again. Meaning is no longer just in the sound, it's in the rhythm, the emotion, the relationship between speaker and listener. And as the night deepens, the fire burns lower. The oldest of the group begins a slow chant, long vowels, steady pace, rising and falling like waves. The others join in, their voices blending into one long breath of sound. No one knows why they do it, but it feels right. The chant calms the children, unites the tribe, fills the dark with courage. You realize that this too is language, a language of belonging. Every so often, someone glances into the fire and adds a new sound to the chant. If it fits, it stays. If it doesn't, it fades. Evolution right there in the flames. Words are shaped the same way, kept or lost, depending on how well they connect. The tribe is inventing speech the same way nature invents species, through variation and selection. By now, the air hums with life. The world outside the fire is dark and full of teeth. But inside this glowing circle, humans have built something stronger than walls. They've built understanding. You can see it in their faces, hear it in their murmurs. The silence that once separated every creature has been broken forever. You lie back on the ground, staring up at the stars. The fire pops softly beside you, and the tribe's voices blend with the night breeze. The sound is tender, rhythmic, and eternal. You realize this isn't just communication, it's communion. The fire has become the first classroom, the first theater, the first temple, and as your eyes grow heavy, you understand that language was never simply about survival. It was about this sitting together in the dark, sharing warmth, laughter, and meaning. The first words weren't born in daylight. They were born here, under stars beside fire, whispered between hearts that finally knew how to listen. Morning breaks over the camp, painting the sky with a pale wash of gold. The fire has burned to embers, and the tribe moves slowly, yawning, stretching, murmuring. The air is thick with that new kind of sound, intentional, rhythmic, patterned. You can almost hear the gears of evolution turning. The night before was filled with laughter and mimicry, but something changed. Now, those same playful sounds are becoming fixed. Repetition has turned memory into meaning. You watch a child pick up a stick and point to the smoldering ashes. She repeats the same sound the adults used last night for fire, soft, drawn out, like the crackle itself. Far. Her mother nods and repeats it. Then someone else, and suddenly the word doesn't belong to one person anymore. It belongs to everyone. It's a symbol now, a sound that points to something beyond itself. This is the moment language truly begins. The tribe has learned to use sound as a tool, to shape it and agree on its meaning. The word is no longer just noise. It's a bridge between mind and world. You can almost feel it vibrating in the air, the invisible thread that ties idea to sound, sound to thought, thought to others. Symbols are powerful because they make memory portable. You can leave a place, but take it with you in words. You can talk about something that isn't here, that no one else can see, and still be understood. Reality, once confined to what the senses could touch, now stretches across distance and time. By midday, the camp hums with this new energy. You hear it everywhere, the rhythm of naming. The word for fire leads to one for water, then food, then tools. The group invents them instinctively, testing sounds, laughing when they clash, keeping the ones that fit. A sharp click might mean rock, a long vowel could mean tree. The shapes of words mirror the shapes of the world. You notice how some sounds carry emotion. Harsh, cutting tones belong to danger or anger. Soft, flowing sounds mark safety or calm. This connection between feeling and sound will never disappear. It will follow every language humanity ever speaks. Even thousands of years from now, across continents, the soft words will soothe and the sharp ones will sting. But symbols do something even stranger. They change how the brain works. Once you can label things, you can compare them, combine them, imagine them. You start to think in sequences, not just sensations. The tribe begins to build invisible worlds. A man points at the sky, says the new word for bird, then another sound that means gone. Bird gone. The others nod. It's not poetry yet, but it's logic, a primitive syntax, a structure for thought. The human mind, once bound to the present, is now free to imagine cause and effect. One sound connects to another, and meaning multiplies. At night, The tribe gathers again by the fire. But this time, the conversation feels different. The sounds are slower, more deliberate. There's less guessing, fewer gestures. The words themselves are doing the work. A woman points to her chest, says the sound for me, then gestures outward saying another for you. Laughter ripples through the group as everyone mimics her. The words I and you have been born, and with them, the idea of self and other. It's hard to describe how monumental this is. Before now, humans lived in pure instinct without the concept of I. Now, through sound, you can define yourself and the world around you. Awareness becomes identity. Communication becomes reflection. You are no longer just alive. You are conscious. The elders begin to shape these sounds into memory. They use them to teach children about the hunt, about the safe paths, about the spirits of animals. The first oral tradition begins, passed down not through imitation, but through words. Storytelling transforms from gesture to speech. Each generation inherits not just instincts, but ideas. You see it in their eyes as they speak. Pride, wonder, a glimmer of something new. When one elder repeats a sequence of sounds that recalls a great hunt, the listeners react exactly as if they'd been there. The story has power. It carries emotion across time. The spoken symbol has become a vessel for the invisible. Symbols change relationships too. With words you can make promises. You can remember debts. You can warn, praise, or deceive. The tribe's social world becomes richer, more complex. Rules emerge. Language begins to shape morality. But even as this transformation unfolds, the old ways still linger. Gestures remain, faces still speak, songs still soothe. The new language doesn't replace the old, it weaves through it, like vines growing around a tree. The full symphony of communication, voice, motion, expression, silence, is complete. You sit apart, watching the flames dance. You realize how fragile this new invention is, how easily it could fade if not repeated, remembered, shared. But that's exactly what humans excel at, passing things on. The tribe will teach these symbols to their children, who will teach them to theirs. Each new voice will add a little variation, a little flair, and before long, this one small collection of sounds will grow into a language family, then a culture, then a world. The fire crackles. A child calls out a word you recognize, something for food. The others laugh and echo it. It spreads through the camp like light, catching, glowing, alive. The word will outlive them all. You smile, realizing that the real miracle isn't just that humans can speak, it's that they agree to understand. Every word is a small act of faith, a promise that meaning can be shared, and as the night deepens, that promise feels eternal. Somewhere in the dark, the wind sighs through the trees, carrying your new words, farther than you can imagine. Maybe they'll fade into echoes. Maybe they'll change beyond recognition. But the truth remains. The silence of the world has been broken, and the sound of thought will never stop. The dawn rises soft and silver, brushing light across sleeping faces. Smoke from last night's fire drifts lazily upward, curling like the ghosts of dreams. A baby stirs, a small sound at first, a whimper that grows into a cry. The mother wakes instantly, before language, before civilization. This call is already sacred. Her hand finds the child, her voice follows, a low melodic murmur that vibrates with calm. The baby quiets. The first lullaby is sung. You watch as she rocks her child, humming, not for words, but for feeling. The melody is ancient and instinctive, slow, repeating, soothing. It doesn't tell a story. It is the story: safety after fear, warmth after cold, belonging after loneliness. The baby doesn't understand the sounds, but it doesn't need to. It feels the emotion behind them. This is where language truly begins, not in the hunt or the fire, but in the heartbeat between mother and child. Every human who has ever spoken has first been spoken to in this way. The rhythm of speech grows from the rhythm of comfort. The cooing, humming, and sing-song tones that fill these early moments will echo through every human language that follows. Even now, millennia later, when we talk to infants, we instinctively return to that same musical voice. Higher pitch, slower tempo, warm cadence. It's the oldest conversation in the world. The tribe moves around them, quietly respectful. Life in this world is hard. Predators, hunger, storms. But in this small circle of tenderness, you see something invincible: empathy, the ability to comfort, not just survive. The baby's cry summons not annoyance, but attention. Everyone listens. The sound triggers something in them, a pull, a need to respond. Evolution has tuned the human ear to that frequency. The cry of a child is a command written in biology, but it's more than instinct. It's communication. The child cries differently for hunger, fear, pain. The mother learns the nuances by heart. One cry means cold, another means alone. Her answers, though wordless, carry distinct tones too: reassurance, warning, affection. Back and forth they go, building the first dialogue in human history. It's not made of words, but of emotion translated through sound. And the others begin to copy it. Fathers hum to soothe, grandmothers sing while grinding grain, siblings babble to make the baby laugh. Language spreads through love. The voice becomes the tool of care. You sit near them one afternoon, watching the scene unfold. The child sits in the dirt, babbling happily, imitating the rhythm of the tribe's murmurs. The sounds make no sense, but they're full of play. The others laugh, repeating the same sounds back. The child beams, delighted to be understood. For the first time, communication is fun. That's the secret no one realizes yet. The road from instinct to language is paved with play, through imitation, laughter, nonsense, and repetition. Humans teach themselves the power of sound. Children aren't just learning, they're inventing. The mother's voice changes throughout the day. When she calls her child from afar, it's loud and rising, full of urgency. When she scolds, it's sharp and clipped. When she comforts, it's low and rhythmic. Each tone is a new lesson. Without meaning to, she's creating the emotional grammar of speech. The child is learning not just words, but how meaning feels. And somewhere in the background, the tribe begins to imitate this pattern. Adults start using the same tonal range in other situations, soothing a frightened companion, warning of danger, inviting others to share food. Maternal melody becomes the prototype for conversation itself. At night, the fire burns low. The camp is quiet, except for the soft hum of wind and the faint cooing of a sleepy child. The mother whispers to the baby, her voice like a heartbeat in sound, soft, repetitive, endlessly patient. You realize that in this moment, she's doing something no other animal does. She's shaping emotion into language. She's teaching the next generation how to speak with feeling. The power of this connection doesn't fade with time. Every human on Earth will one day learn through the same ritual: cry, comfort, mimic, repeat. The entire architecture of speech, tone, rhythm, empathy, traces back to this circle of warmth. You think of how far this small exchange will echo. The melody of her hum will become the cadence of future songs. The rhythm of her heartbeat will become the beat of poetry. The gentle rise and fall of her tone will evolve into the patterns of spoken language itself. The tribe sleeps now, but her voice continues softly. Even in exhaustion she hums, as if to keep the dark away. The sound vibrates through the air, low and steady. You can almost feel the world listening, the wind, the trees, the stars, holding its breath at this new kind of music. The baby's eyes close. The mother leans her head back, staring at the sky. The fire flickers on her face, warm and gold. You know somehow that this quiet act, this small duet between mother and child, is shaping the destiny of the species, because in that hum is everything to come. Language, song, storytelling, comfort, culture. The voice that soothes will one day persuade, inspire, command, and create. But for now, it's enough that it soothes. You sit in silence listening to the melody fade into the night, and it hits you. Humanity didn't start speaking to conquer the world. It started speaking to say, I'm here, you're safe, you're loved. And in that sound, the long darkness of silence finally breaks. The sun sinks low, painting the world in bronze. Smoke drifts upward in thin streams, curling around branches and fading into the open sky. The tribe has finished the day's work. Meat roasted, roots gathered, water fetched. Now they sit together again around the fire, the circle of light that has become their classroom. The children settle near the elders, their small faces glowing in the flicker. No one writes, no one reads. But tonight, knowledge will pass from one generation to the next, not through bone or blood, but through words. You can feel it happening. The air hums with the rhythm of repetition. The oldest man speaks first, his voice rough but steady. His hands move, tracing the path of a great hunt from seasons past. He names the places, the animals, the heroes. His voice rises and falls, mimicking wind, rain, and the heartbeat of running feet. The children listen, eyes wide, mouths open. They repeat after him, mimicking the sounds. They're not just hearing a story, they're learning how to remember. This is how history begins, not carved in stone but carved in breath. Every sentence is a lifeline thrown across generations. The tribe is building an invisible archive, one that lives in memory and melody. To forget is to lose it forever. To remember is to survive. The elders know this. They repeat their lessons often, turning them into rhythm. The human brain loves pattern. It clings to rhyme and cadence. A chant is easier to remember than a flat phrase, so language bends toward music. You hear it in their speech, a subtle pulse, a beat that anchors meaning. It's the birth of oral tradition, the first form of structured teaching. By the fire you watch as a young boy leans forward, repeating the word for water with perfect tone. The old man nods, pleased. Then he adds the word for path. Together they form a simple instruction, path to water. The boy grins. The idea of combining sounds to create new meaning is thrilling. Grammar, still soft and shifting, is taking its first true shape. Language has become more than sound now. It's a tool for shaping thought. You can feel it altering the way these people think, expanding their sense of time and sequence. They can recall what happened yesterday and plan for tomorrow. They can share the steps of making tools or cooking food. Teaching no longer depends on watching, it depends on listening. You see it everywhere. A woman kneels beside her daughter, showing her how to weave reeds into a basket. As she works, she talks softly, naming each motion, each part. The child repeats the words under her breath, synchronizing movement with speech. Knowledge and language have fused. One strengthens the other. Even play becomes education. The children invent games that rely on words, guessing objects by sound, repeating patterns, chanting together. Their laughter is not just noise, it's practice. They're learning the cadence of memory. At night, the tribe's songs change. Once, they were simple hums. Now, they carry verses, sequences of images strung together like beads. One song tells how lighting makes fire. Another names the stars that guide travel. A third honors ancestors long gone. You realize these songs are more than entertainment. They're the first libraries. Every melody holds knowledge, where the rivers run, where danger sleeps, where life thrives. And just as important, the songs carry values. When the old man tells of the hunter who shared his kill, the tribe murmurs approval. When he recalls the one who hoarded and fell ill, there's laughter but also warning. Morality begins to take root in memory. Through words, the tribe shapes not only knowledge, but behavior. Still, memory is fragile. You can see it in the elder's eyes as he pauses, searching for a phrase. The group waits, quiet, holding its breath. When the right word returns, relief ripples through the crowd. Everyone repeats it, louder this time, sealing it in place. Forgetting is failure. Remembering is life. The tribe guards its stories like treasure. You realize how remarkable this is. No other creature carries the past within sound. Animals act in the moment. Humans can relive it, retell it, reinterpret it. Through language, memory becomes a shared landscape. You can walk across it together, point to landmarks of experience. Here, says the storyteller, this is where we learned. And every listener steps there too in imagination. As the night deepens, you notice how teaching has evolved beyond instruction. It's not just about survival anymore. It's about identity. The tribe uses stories to explain who they are, where they came from, why they matter. Every word connects them to their ancestors, to the world, to each other. When the last story fades, the fire burns low, the children drift towards sleep, mumbling fragments of words and songs. The elders sit quietly, staring into the embers, their faces calm. You realize that the tribe's greatest achievement isn't just that they've learned to speak, it's that they've learned to remember together. Language has given them more than survival. It's given them continuity, the ability to hold the past and pass it forward. Each voice, each breath, is a thread in a tapestry that now stretches across generations. You close your eyes, listening to the faint murmur of dreams around you. Half words, half music. Somewhere in the distance, an owl calls. The night feels vast, but you're no longer alone in it. Humanity has found a way to carry itself forward. One story, one lesson, one word at a time. And tomorrow, when the sun rises again, those same lessons will be spoken anew, echoing softly through the dawn, ensuring that nothing truly learned is ever lost. The wind moves through the tall grass like a whisper, bending the stalks into waves that shimmer under the rising sun. You stand on the edge of camp, listening not to the wind this time, but to the people behind you. There's laughter, argument, affection, all woven together in the tapestry of morning sound. Language has grown richer, more colourful. It doesn't just describe the world anymore, it feels. You hear it first in tone. A woman calls to her child, her voice soft and lilting. Then a hunter shouts a warning, his words sharp and clipped. The difference is obvious even if you don't understand the sounds. Tone alone tells you everything. The human voice has become an instrument, capable of shaping emotion as vividly as the face or hands ever could. It's hard to believe how quickly it happens. Only a few generations ago, communication was all gesture and instinct. Now the air itself trembles with emotion, joy, fear, anger, tenderness, all carried by vibration, the first true music of the human heart. By midday, the tribe gathers near the water's edge. You hear a familiar rhythm in their speech, rising and falling like waves. They're not just saying things, they're performing them. The story about a great hunt becomes a song. The dispute over food turns into a duet of overlapping tones, high and low, fast and slow. Even disagreement has rhythm now. You realize something profound. Humans are learning that how they say something can matter more than what they say. The melody of speech carries as much meaning as the words themselves. When someone's voice cracks in anger, everyone feels it. When another's voice trembles in sorrow, hearts soften. Emotion has become contagious through sound. You watch two elders speak quietly by the fire. Their tones are low, warm, steady. They're solving a conflict between younger hunters. No shouting, no violence, just tone, empathy, rhythm. The soothing cadence alone lowers tension. This, you realize, is the birth of diplomacy. Even laughter changes. It's no longer just reaction. It's communication. Laughter tells the tribe when it's safe, when something is shared, when the world feels whole. A joke told in the right tone binds the group closer together. The sound of joy becomes a glue stronger than fear. Children pick it up first. Naturally, they mimic tone before they learn words. A baby can tell a joke in rhythm before they can name their mother. Play is full of squeals, growls, whispers, all practice for emotional language. Adults encourage it, repeating the same tones, shaping patterns of affection. Love itself finds its voice. You notice how sound reflects feeling in ways no gesture ever could. Grief comes out as long, low moans. Joy as quick bursts of sound. Fear sharpens the pitch. Peace smooths it. Even silence takes on meaning. A pause, a breath, a held note that speaks volumes. The tribe begins to use these tones deliberately. When a child is frightened by thunder, someone imitates the sound in a playful way, turning fear into laughter. When hunters prepare for the chase, they chant low, rhythmic syllables to stir courage. The power of voice, to alter emotion, to calm or to rouse, is the first art of persuasion. By the fire that night, you hear a new kind of song. It's not just for teaching or remembering, it's for feeling. The voices rise together, weaving harmony and tension, grief and triumph. The melody climbs and falls, like the beating of a heart. It isn't random, it's structured, intentional, beautiful. The first true music is born from the same breath as speech. And in that music lies something greater than language, a connection beyond words. The tribe sways together, eyes closed, caught in the pulse of the song. For a few moments, there's no I or you, only the shared rhythm of humanity itself. You think about how far this power will reach. One day, people will use tone to sing hymns, recite poetry, confess love, wage wars. Every emotion in history will ride on breath and vibration. Every leader, every lover, every teacher will live and die by the power of sound. But tonight, it's still pure. No manipulation, no deceit, just shared feeling under the stars. When the song ends, the silence feels sacred. The group sits quietly, the firelight flickering across faces damp with tears, or smiling faintly. Even without words, you know what they're thinking. We are alive. We are together. We understand. One elder exhales slowly, murmuring a few soft sounds. Others echo her, each adding a note until the air fills again. Not loud, but full. You can feel it in your chest, that vibration of empathy, of recognition. For the first time, emotion has left the body and entered the air. As the night deepens, you lie back, listening to the lingering hum. The world seems impossibly wide, yet the voices make it small again, intimate. You realize that emotion in speech isn't decoration, it's the heartbeat of communication itself. Because before humans could reason, they could feel, and before they could explain, they could express. That's why, even now, thousands of generations later, when you speak to someone you love, your voice softens without thinking. You're echoing this ancient rhythm, the same song that once rose from a firelit plain beneath the first stars. The fire cracks softly. Someone laughs in their sleep. The night hums with quiet life. Language has learned to sing, and through that song, humanity has learned to feel each other's souls. Morning breaks pale and still. A mist clings to the grass, and dew glitters like tiny stars fallen to earth. You rise with the tribe, stretching your limbs, feeling the damp, cool air against your skin. The fire from the night before has died, but smoke lingers, faint and curling upward. Around you, people stir, murmuring softly to one another. The air hums with sound, small words, half words, sounds that have begun to anchor the world into meaning. You listen closely, and you hear it. Names. Not just sounds for survival anymore, but labels for things. Someone points to the sky and speaks a word you don't know. Another replies, using the same word but softer, reverently. They've named the sky. The moment feels sacred, though no one calls it that. They're not just surviving anymore, they're defining. When the tribe first spoke, words were tools, warnings, requests, commands. But now, words are keys. By naming something, you capture it, bring it into the shared world of thought. To name is to make it real. You see it unfold throughout the day. One hunter gestures toward a river bend and speaks a short rhythmic sound. The others nod. That place now has a name. Tomorrow, when they return, they'll say that sound again, and everyone will know exactly where to go. For the first time, memory has a map. A woman lifts a stone, turning it over in her hands, murmuring a word for its shape. The sound imitates the scrape it makes on another rock. Grinding, rough, alive. Another person repeats it, and soon the word belongs to everyone. It's astonishing how fast it spreads. Within hours, half the camp is using the new word, as if it had always existed. Names multiply like sparks from the fire. The sun, the rain, the river, the bird, the tree, the wind, all gain identity through sound. Things that were once invisible in speech now have form. You can call to them, describe them, remember them. The world, once vast and silent, becomes familiar through naming. But something deeper is happening too. Naming changes how humans think. Before, the world was a blur of sensation, light, color, movement, sound. Now it's divided, organized, understood. A name separates one thing from another. It draws borders in thought. The tribe's perception sharpens. Their minds begin to categorize. This mental ordering will one day give birth to science, philosophy, even religion. But for now, it's enough that they can tell one river from another. You watch as a child asks for something using a new word. The adults laugh, delighted. The child repeats it proudly. Naming isn't just knowledge, it's power. The more words you know, the more of the world belongs to you. At sunset, you sit by the fire again. The tribe is quieter than usual, tired but content. One man gestures toward the sky as it deepens to violet, then says the word for fire, followed by another, new sound. The group pauses. Someone repeats it, softly, fire, sky. The meaning is obvious. The sunset, the first metaphor in human history, flickers into being. You feel a shiver as you realize what's happening. By combining words, they're not just describing the world, they're creating new layers of meaning. Language is becoming art. Soon, naming takes on another purpose, belonging. Individuals receive names too. A child is called by a sound that marks them from the rest. The tribe begins to distinguish one person from another, not just by face but by word. It's a fragile magic, but a real one. To be named is to be recognized. To speak another's name is to say, I see you. The first personal names are simple. Imitations of nature, of sound, of role. One man is named for the hawk's cry, another for the way he walks. The woman who hums often becomes known by her hum. Each name carries story. Each story carries identity. You realize that this is the moment individuality is born. Naming doesn't stop at people and places. The tribe begins naming things they can't touch. The wind, the night, even the unseen. When thunder rumbles, someone whispers the word for sky, followed by one that means anger. The storm becomes not just weather but spirit. The first myth takes shape through sound. The boundary between language and magic blurs. If a word can capture something real, can it also summon it? The tribe tests it. They call the word for rain when the clouds gather, whisper it again and again as droplets begin to fall. Coincidence or not, it feels powerful. The belief is born that words carry energy, that to name is to command. Later, when night falls, the tribe gathers again by the fire. One elder begins to speak in slow, deliberate tones, naming each thing in sight, the tree, the fire, the stars. The rhythm feels ceremonial. Everyone joins in, repeating the names like a chant. It's not prayer yet, but it's close. Naming has become reverence. You can almost feel the shift in the air. The world that was once chaotic and wild now seems ordered, connected. Each sound is a thread tying the tribe to nature, to each other, to something larger. The universe has started to take shape through words. And as the chant continues, you realize what naming truly does. It gives the human mind a mirror. The tribe can now think about things not just as sensations, but as concepts. They can remember, compare, question. The ability to name has unlocked imagination. When the last voice fades, the camp falls silent again. The stars shimmer above, countless and cold. You think of how many names they'll one day have. Orion, Sirius, Polaris, but tonight, they're still unnamed, mysterious, waiting. You smile at the thought. Because tomorrow someone will point upward, make a sound and another will repeat it. And in that moment another piece of the infinite will have a name. The universe will never be nameless again. The night stretches long and blue-black. The air alive with embers and memory. The tribe gathers close to the fire again. But this time there's a new energy, anticipation. They've named the world. And now, they want to explain it. The sky has its name, the fire its word, the river its song. But what about the things they can't see? The voices in thunder, the whisper of wind, the flicker of stars. Tonight, the tribe will speak those mysteries into meaning. It starts with an elder, his voice deep and slow, cracking like dry wood. He stares into the flames, then points toward the horizon. His words come haltingly at first, but soon they gather rhythm, confidence, weight. He speaks of a time before fire, before people, when the world was cold and dark. He tells of a great bird that carried the sun in its wings, releasing light into the sky. The tribe leans closer, silent, entranced. You can see their faces glowing orange in the firelight, their eyes wide, reflecting imagination itself. The first myth is born, not from proof, but from wonder. The elder's voice rises and falls, weaving rhythm into meaning. His hands carve shapes in the air. The story grows as others join in, adding details, repeating lines, filling in the silence. You realize this is how myth spreads, not written, but remembered, carried in sound and rhythm, reshaped with each telling. The fire becomes a stage, and language its light. You look around and see what this moment means. The tribe isn't just talking, they're creating a shared dream. Words are no longer just tools for naming or warning. They've become the thread that ties the physical world to the imagination. Storytelling has begun, and with it, humanity becomes something entirely new, a species that believes, the elder continues. He tells of spirits in the trees, of the river that hungers, of stars that listen. The children clutch their mothers, half afraid, half amazed. The hunters nod solemnly, as if they've always known these truths. You realize the power of what's happening. The story doesn't just explain the world, it organizes it. Chaos becomes pattern, Fear becomes narrative. The unknown becomes knowable through words. This new language of myth transforms fear into something manageable. When lightning strikes, it's no longer random. It's the anger of a sky spirit. When the hunt fails, it's because the forest god is displeased. These stories give meaning to loss, structure to chaos, hope to hardship. Language has turned imagination into protection. But myth does more than soothe. It unites. The same story, told and retold, becomes a bond. The tribe now shares not just food or shelter but belief. When they chant the name of the sunbird together, they move as one. The first religion, the first art, the first culture, all are born from this firelight moment. You feel it in the air, thick, electric, timeless. The words themselves seem to shimmer, as if the sound carries more than meaning. Maybe it does. For the first time, language is being used to reach beyond the visible world. Later, when the story ends, a hush falls. The children are still staring into the flames, imagining wings of fire cutting through the dark. Someone hums softly, repeating the rhythm of the tale. It becomes a chant, a song. The tribe joins in. The story is now embedded in melody, harder to forget, easier to pass on. The first mythology has found its form. Days later, you see it repeated. A storm brews on the horizon, and the elder raises his hands, calling out to the bird of fire. The tribe echoes his words, asking for light. When the storm passes and the sky clears, they cheer. The story feels true now. The act of speaking has given power to belief. You realize that humans have discovered something extraordinary. By imagining together, they can change the way the world feels. The myths evolve quickly. Each event, a hunt, a birth, a death, becomes a new story. The woman who brings twins is said to have been blessed by the moon. The hunter who disappears in the forest becomes a spirit guide in the next tale. Reality and imagination merge seamlessly. The line between memory and myth blurs. It's astonishing how fast the world fills with meaning. The wind is a messenger, the river a mother, the mountains ancient watchers. Everything speaks now, and every voice carries a lesson. The language of myth turns nature into teacher. But the stories also carry warnings. The elder tells of the spirit who punishes those who waste food, of the shadow creature who hunts liars, of the star that falls when someone breaks a promise. These tales aren't just imagination, they're morality in disguise. Through story, humans learn not just what is, but what should be. You watch the children whisper the tales to each other at night, their small voices rising and falling in the dark. They believe every word, but belief is the point. Myth keeps memory alive, but it also plants imagination in the soil of fear and hope. As the tribe sleeps, you realize that myth is humanity's first great invention. It turns sound into meaning, meaning into belonging, belonging into truth. It's fragile, ever-changing, but enduring. Every story told tonight will ripple forward in time, evolving, blending, transforming, until one day it becomes scripture, legend, literature. You look up at the stars wondering what they'd think if they could hear these tales. How humans have filled the silence with song and story. The fire crackles, and for a heartbeat you almost believe the stars are listening, leaning closer, eager to hear the next chapter. The elder stirs the fire once more, sending sparks swirling into the sky. They rise like words escaping gravity, glowing for a moment before fading into the dark. You can't help but smile, because tonight, humanity hasn't just named the world, they've explained it. And from this point forward, the truth will always live side by side with the stories we tell to make sense of it. Dawn comes cold and silver, mist curling over the earth like breath. You wake to the soft murmur of voices, a chorus of human sound blending with birdsong and rustling leaves. It feels ordinary now, but each voice you hear is proof of evolution's greatest gamble, that thought itself could be reshaped by language. You stretch, watching smoke drift from the fire pit, and realize that somewhere between grunts and grammar, the human brain made a leap no other creature ever would. It didn't happen overnight. Nature worked slowly, invisibly, sculpting flesh and thought in tandem. Over countless generations, small changes added up. The skull widened at the temples to make space for a growing brain. The jaw shortened, freeing the tongue. The larynx dropped lower in the throat, expanding the range of sound. These adjustments came with danger. Choking became easier, childbirth harder, but evolution doesn't offer perfection. It trades risk for possibility, and the reward was immense. Inside that newly shaped skull, the connections between neurons multiplied like wildfire. Communication demanded pattern recognition, memory, rhythm. The brain learned to link sound with meaning, to hold sequences in order, to imagine what others might think. For the first time, intelligence wasn't just about survival, it was about understanding minds other than your own. You watch the tribe as they move through their morning rituals. Two hunters argue quietly over a broken spearhead. You can tell by their tone they're not just angry, they're reasoning, explaining, persuading. Words allow them to share not just outcomes, but process. This is what changes everything. Language turns private thought into something communal. Knowledge no longer dies with the body. It lives in the group, in memory, in sound. The children sit nearby, repeating new words as if playing a game. You can almost hear their brains forming fresh pathways, connecting symbols to sensations. Their laughter blends with concentration. Learning has become pleasure. That too is evolution's masterpiece, rewarding curiosity itself. The brain now releases joy when discovery happens. The species has learned to love learning. Somewhere deep inside the skull, the prefrontal cortex hums with activity. It's the engine of imagination, planning, foresight. Once it only calculated danger or opportunity, now it simulates futures. The tribe can think beyond the moment, predict seasons, plan hunts, invent tools. Memory and imagination, bound by words, become the twin pillars of consciousness. You watch as one woman sketches patterns in the dirt. Circles, lines, marks that seem meaningless until she points to the sky. Then the ground, repeating a word. She's mapping. Not just naming, but representing space through symbol. Her brain is visualizing what isn't visible. Thinking abstractly, you realize this too is the gift of language. It trains the mind to think in symbols, to manipulate reality inside thought. The brain begins to think about thinking, the voice inside your head, the one that narrates, doubts, wonders. That's new. Early humans once felt fear or joy purely as sensation. Now they can step outside it, describe it, question it. Consciousness becomes self-awareness, and it's both blessing and burden. You can now imagine your death, dream of your legacy, ponder your purpose. Language gives meaning, but also worry. By midday, the tribe gathers at the river. A group of women laugh as they mimic the sound of splashing water in rhythm, turning it into a chant. You can hear the delight in their voices, the joy of pattern, of control. Somewhere in that playful repetition, syntax is forming. The brain's love of order transforms chaos into structure. The cadence of speech becomes the foundation of logic. The leap isn't just biological, it's emotional. Language wires empathy deeper into the brain. To understand another's words, you must imagine their perspective. Every conversation is an act of mental simulation. You build another person's world inside your mind. That's why stories hit so deeply. They're not entertainment, they're empathy practice. The tribe's nightly tales about gods and hunters and spirits aren't escapism, they're exercises in shared feeling. You see it that evening, when a child cries after falling near the fire. Instantly, 3 adults rush forward, their voices soft, rhythmic, soothing. The child calms, soothed by tone alone. Words, even half-formed, carry safety. The sound of kindness rewires fear. This is evolution too, emotion shaped by speech. At night, the tribe gathers again under the stars. The elder who once told the story of the sunbird begins another, slower this time. His voice is deep, his words longer, more complex. He's not just telling events, he's describing thoughts, choices, motives. The listeners follow eagerly, their faces flickering in firelight. The brain has learned to imagine minds within minds. The story becomes layered. What he thought, what she feared, what the spirits wanted. This new complexity marks the dawn of psychology, philosophy, introspection. And with that leap, something astonishing happens. Humans begin to feel the weight of time. They remember the past vividly, dream of futures they'll never see. They begin to sense that their lives exist in a larger story. Language has given them the ability to narrate themselves. But the new mind comes with its shadows. The same imagination that builds gods can conjure fear. The same ability to plan can create anxiety. The voice in the head that once whispered survival, now whispers what if. You realize the price of intelligence, awareness of loss, of death, of longing. The human brain has become a storyteller that can't stop telling stories even when it hurts. And yet, it's beautiful, because through language, pain becomes poetry, fear becomes wisdom, memory becomes legacy. The brain has learned to turn emotion into expression, chaos into creation. Every song, every myth, every whispered word around this fire is the mind teaching itself how to be human. You watch the flames flicker against the dark, the tribe's murmurs rising and falling like a heartbeat. The night feels infinite, but you know what's coming. These early minds, these thinkers, dreamers, storytellers, will give rise to everything. Art, science, love, grief, civilization, all from a single leap of thought. You look at your hands, the same hands that once only grasped and struck. Now they gesture, point, emphasize. They shape sound into meaning. You think of the brain that commands them, how it evolved from instinct into insight. You can almost feel it pulsing behind your eyes, that electric web of connections still expanding, still reaching for new ways to understand. The fire pops, sending a shower of sparks upward. For a moment the light seems to pause mid-air, like neurons firing in the dark. You smile, because somewhere in that shimmer, you see it, the greatest truth of all. The brain didn't just evolve to survive. It evolved to imagine, and in that imagination, humanity found eternity. The morning rises golden and clear, and the tribe moves as one body. Voices fill the air before footsteps do, short calls, clipped syllables, rising tones that guide action, the sound of cooperation. It's easy to miss how miraculous this is. Dozens of people, different minds, moving toward the same goal because of air vibrating between them. You feel it in your chest as you walk among them. The hum of shared intent, the invisible bond that language has woven. Once, long ago, silence ruled survival. Each human was alone in instinct, reacting without plan, surviving without unity. But language changed that forever. It turned competition into collaboration, instinct into intention. Now, a single word can make 30 people turn the same direction, lift the same log, share the same danger. The world has become a place that can be organized through sound. You see it play out by the riverbank. A group of hunters prepares to cross the water. One raises his hand, calls a short phrase. Another replies. A third echoes the sound. Each knows what to do, not because they watched, but because they understood. Their success no longer depends on luck or strength, but on coordination. The tribe moves like a living machine powered by meaning. This is the true miracle of speech. It lets humans act together in time. One mind can imagine a plan, describe it, and watch it unfold in others. That's how you hunt bigger prey, build larger shelters, survive storms. Words make cooperation scalable. The tribe has become a superorganism bound not by blood but by belief. You notice how trust grows alongside language. When someone gives an instruction, the others obey without question. They've learned that communication implies honesty, that words can predict action. But with that trust comes a new danger, deception. The ability to speak truth creates the ability to lie, and both will shape the human story forever. Later in the day, the tribe gathers to share food. The distribution is deliberate. Portions are handed out according to effort and need. Arguments rise, but words keep them contained. Disputes become dialogue. A system of fairness begins to form. Not perfect, but guided by shared reasoning. You can almost hear justice being born in those heated exchanges. The cooperation isn't just practical, it's emotional. When one hunter limps back injured, others rush to help. Their voices soften, full of sympathy. Comfort has become a kind of social glue. The more language evolves, the stronger empathy becomes. Words allow people to share not only plans, but feelings. You can say, "I hurt," and others can feel it. The tribe's collective heart begins to beat in rhythm. That evening, the group gathers again, by firelight. But tonight, the mood is different. Not playful, not ritualistic, but purposeful. The leader speaks, outlining tomorrow's plan for the hunt. His words are slow, deliberate, rhythmic. You realize he's not commanding. He's persuading. This is another power born from language. leadership through influence. A plan can spread faster than fire when carried by voice. The tribe repeats his phrases in unison, memorizing the steps. Their murmurs overlap, until the camp becomes one steady pulse of sound. You can feel it, a unity that no animal, herd or flock has ever achieved. The words have turned thought into synchronization. The cooperation extends beyond survival. It begins to shape imagination too. When stories are told, they're no longer just personal, they're collective creations. One person begins, another adds, a third corrects. Together they build tales that belong to everyone. Through shared storytelling, the tribe strengthens identity. We becomes the most powerful word in their vocabulary. You realize that language has changed the nature of time itself. Before, humans lived moment to moment, bound to the present. Now they can plan tomorrow, recall yesterday, and share both across the group. The future becomes something real, something that can be built together. By nightfall, the tribe returns from the hunt successful. They carry meat on poles, voices ringing through the dusk. The rhythm of their movement mirrors the rhythm of their speech. Cooperation has created music, each step and shout part of a larger harmony. Around the fire, the food is divided, and the story retold. Each person adds details, dramatizing, laughing. The hunt becomes a legend before the embers die. This retelling binds the tribe tighter still, each word a thread in a fabric of belonging. You look around the circle and realize how far this species has come. Language began as warning, then became naming, then story. Now it's the foundation of society. Through words, humans can coordinate beyond the limits of instinct. They can build trust, establish roles, even dream together. Still, cooperation carries responsibility. The tribe learns that words can harm as easily as help. A harsh phrase divides. A false story poisons trust. To speak is now to wield power. The elders remind the children to use words carefully, to speak truth, to listen. The ethics of communication are being born. You think about how everything in human history will spring from this moment, from the shared fire where people first realized they could work together through sound. Every village, every city, every nation is an echo of this circle. Every contract, every promise, every law begins here, with breath shaped into meaning. As the night deepens, the fire glows low and steady. The tribe sits in content silence, full and safe. Somewhere, a mother hums to a child. A few hunters whisper plans for tomorrow. The sound of cooperation never fully fades. It just softens, always there beneath the surface. You gaze at the glowing coals and feel a quiet awe. The first words might have been born from survival, but cooperation turned them into civilization. Without this gift, humanity would still be scattered, voiceless, alone. With it we can build pyramids, write symphonies, reach stars. You close your eyes as the voices fade into a low murmur, the rhythm of unity echoing like a heartbeat in the dark. And you realize that in every language, in every time, the oldest word of all is not I. The night is endless, dark as pitch. Clouds drift across a moon that refuses to stay still, casting shifting silver light over the sleeping camp. The fire has burned down to a faint red heart of embers. For the first time in many nights, no one speaks. There are no songs, no laughter, no stories. The air feels heavier, waiting. A hunter has died, and silence has returned to the world. You sit near the body, wrapped in woven leaves, hands folded upon the chest. The tribe surrounds him, eyes fixed on the ground. It's not the first death they've seen, but something feels different this time. The quiet isn't just absence, it's meaning. No one needs to explain what's been lost. The hush itself speaks. You can hear the wind moving through the trees, soft and respectful. Somewhere far off, an animal calls and goes unanswered. For a moment, you understand what life was before words. Raw, immediate, powerful. Yet now, silence feels like language too. It carries weight, reverence, grief. The tribe doesn't fill it with chatter. They let it breathe. Then, after a long pause, one woman hums. The sound is low, trembling. It isn't a song exactly, just a tone, like the echo of pain that has nowhere else to go. Others join her, voices blending softly, rising and falling, like the breath of the earth itself. This is the first ritual of mourning, the first prayer whispered into the dark. You realize something profound. Humans have learned not only to speak, but to know when not to. The silence after death is different from the silence before language. It's not ignorance, it's understanding too deep for words. When the hum fades, the elder steps forward. He speaks a few quiet sounds, familiar ones, used when telling stories of the past. You realize he's doing something new. He's speaking to the dead. The words aren't for the living anymore. They're a bridge between worlds. The tribe listens, tears glinting in firelight. The concept of after has entered human thought. The elder's tone changes, solemn and rhythmic. His words form a story about the hunter's spirit joining the wind, about his strength feeding the trees, about the sun carrying his memory. The story comforts the tribe, but it does more than that. It shapes grief into structure. This is the first funeral, and language is giving sorrow a pattern. It can survive. The tribe moves together now, placing stones beside the body, humming as they work. Every gesture is deliberate. You can see the beginnings of ceremony, the moment when instinct becomes ritual, the repetition of words, the order of actions, the shared quiet. They're inventing meaning for what cannot be explained. When the burial ends, they sit in a circle once more. The fire is rebuilt, smaller this time. No one speaks for a while, but the silence feels full, not empty. One child asks a question in a whisper. Why the hunter doesn't wake? No one answers directly. The elder simply places a hand on the child's shoulder and looks toward the sky. The gesture says enough. The limits of language have been reached. You realize that even with all the words humans have learned, there will always be moments that require silence. Love, awe, loss, reverence. The spaces between words matter as much as the words themselves. In those pauses, meaning deepens. Days pass. The tribe's rhythm returns, but something has changed. They speak softer now, more thoughtfully. You sense the birth of introspection. They've learned that speech can't fix everything, that some truths are too vast to describe. Silence becomes part of language, a sacred boundary where sound must bow to mystery. And in that mystery, new ideas begin to stir. When the wind moves through the grass, someone whispers the name of the dead. They believe he's there, unseen, but near. They speak to him quietly, as if language might still reach him. The tribe begins to sense that the world is bigger than what they can name. At night, as the fire crackles, the elder tells a story about the first humans who learned to speak. He says they stole sound from the spirits, that every word is borrowed breath, and one day, all breath must return. The tribe listens in awe. It's not fact, but it feels like truth. Myth and memory have merged with mortality. You sit apart, watching them. The fire reflects in their eyes, small lights inside greater darkness. You understand now that language was never meant to replace silence, only to decorate it. Every word is a ripple on a vast, still sea. The stillness beneath, the awareness of being alive, of being mortal, that's what gives words their meaning. The hum begins again, low and steady. It's not sorrow this time, but gratitude. They hum to the stars, to the wind, to the unseen hunter. The sound rises softly, wraps the camp, and fades. Silence settles once more, not heavy, but whole. You close your eyes and listen. The world itself seems to exhale. The silence feels ancient, familiar, eternal. It's the same quiet that existed before the first word, now transformed by all that's been said. Humanity has learned something sacred, that speech can connect, but silence can heal. Tomorrow, the tribe will speak again. They'll laugh, teach, name, imagine, but tonight, they rest in the one truth beyond language, that life is brief, and meaning is found, not only in what we say, but in what we hold in stillness. The fire dims to a faint orange glow. One last ember cracks softly, and the night takes it back. For a long moment, no one moves. No one breathes too loudly. Then, gently, the elder whispers the simplest words of all, words older than myth, stronger than grief. Still here? Dawn returns at last, soft and golden. The first light spills over the horizon, brushing the plains with quiet warmth. The tribe stirs slowly, stretching limbs, blinking into a world reborn. You sit beside them, the ashes of last night's fire still warm beneath your hands. Smoke curls upward in thin, lazy ribbons, fading into the clear morning air. The silence that filled the night lingers, gentle now, not heavy. The child yawns, a mother hums, a hunter clears his throat. The first sounds of the day rise like the first breaths of creation. Each one feels sacred. Every word ever spoken began like this in the hush between darkness and light. You look around and see what the journey has built. From the first spark of curiosity to the first cry of a newborn, from the hum of comfort to the rhythm of story, humanity has learned to shape breath into meaning. The air itself carries memory now. You can feel it in the morning wind, the ghost of every voice that's ever spoken, whispering through time. Language has changed everything. It turned instinct into thought, thought into cooperation, cooperation into civilization. It gave humans the power to dream, to imagine, to remember, to forgive. Yet even now, beneath all the noise of the world, silence waits patiently, reminding you where it all began. You listen as the tribe begins its day. Someone calls across the clearing, another answers. Their voices echo lightly in the distance, dissolving into the air. Simple sounds, yet infinite. Each word carries not just meaning, but history, the echo of every ancestor who ever dared to speak. You realize that the story never truly ends. Every word we say today is a continuation of that first murmur under the stars. Every whisper, every laugh, every song is another spark in the endless chain of sound that connects us to those who once named the sky and the fire. The world, now full of names and stories, feels smaller, more familiar, but no less mysterious. Language has given you understanding, but mystery still hums quietly underneath. And maybe that's the point. The word and the world are never separate. One gives shape to the other, endlessly. The tribe moves on, their voices blending into the wind, and you sit a little longer, listening to the rhythm of breath and life. You realize that everything, love, loss, memory, hope, exists between sound and silence. That's where humanity lives. As the sun climbs higher, you stand, brush the dust from your hands, and whisper the simplest thing you know, just one word, small but eternal. And the world, as if recognizing its oldest friend, seems to whisper back, "Good night. Sweet dreams."